Hello, everyone. So today I'm going to be talking about the need for Republicans to end the filibuster. Okay, and I'm not just parroting what Trump said a few days ago. I had actually done a video on this many months ago, right? And I said Republicans need to end the filibuster. Okay, and the reason is because it's not if, but when Democrats get into power, they will absolutely end the filibuster. They've tried to do it in the past. The only reason they weren't able to do it is because of Manchin and Sinema, who were like centrist, moderate Democrats. Well, they're gone, okay? They're no longer in the Senate. At some point in the future, Republicans are going to screw up, right? There's going to be some issues of corruption, mismanagement, abuse, whatever. And at some point, whether it's next election, 3 elections down the road, 10 years from now, 20 years from now, at some point in the future, Democrats are going to have a trifecta, right? They're going to have control over, both chambers of the Congress, and they're going to have the White House. They're going to get rid of the filibuster, and they're going to completely turn this country into a socialist nightmare. Okay, whatever Trump does, they're going to undo. Okay, they're going to open up the borders again. All the people that Trump has deported. And is going to deport, they're going to give them all incentives to come back into the country. And they're going to have a complete victory. They're going to pass laws that makes it impossible for Republicans to ever win again. I mean, they've tried to do this stuff in the past, but if they get rid of the filibuster, I mean, there's absolutely like nothing in place to even slow them down. Okay. So yeah, Republicans, because Republicans are big on, history, tradition. Filibuster goes back, almost to the, beginning of to the foundation of the country. Okay, this concept of the filibuster. And I'm gonna talk about an alternative in a minute. Okay, but Democrats are absolutely committed to getting rid of it. Once they get rid of it, they're going to add more judges. They're going to increase the number of judges on the Supreme Court. They're going to stack the court to basically dilute the vote of the constitutional judges. It's the country is going to get to a place that it can't come back from. Okay, it's going to become like France or one of these socialist nightmare countries. Okay, so what I'm suggesting is that the Republicans get rid of the filibuster. Now, with the filibuster is a rule. Okay, it's a rule. For those anybody not familiar, probably should have explained this in the beginning. Basically, in order for you need a 50% majority to pass, a bill through the Senate. But in order to proceed to a vote, you have to basically get a 60% majority. Okay, so first you got to get the 60%, and then it can proceed to a vote where you get 50%. So it's kind of weird. What they should have done is they should have just said, hey, they should have done this from the beginning, that you need 60 votes for it to pass the Senate. I believe that they should make it a constitutional amendment. Making it a constitutional amendment would take a long time, because now you got to get like 3/4 of the states to all vote on this, and that could, that typically takes a decade or more to actually pass a constitutional amendment. So that's not going to be done fast enough. Okay, so we need a faster solution. Now, like I said, the filibuster is a Senate rule. Okay, and to change it, they just need a 50% majority. However, what the Republicans can do, right, and this is my solution here to promote stability. Okay, they can get rid of the filibuster, right, as a rule, and then introduce a law, right, a bill as a law, making the filibuster, not a rule that can be removed by 50, added or subtracted with just a 50% majority, but they can reinstitute the concept of the filibuster. I wouldn't even call it a filibuster. I would just say that make it a law that you need 60 votes in the Senate for a bill to pass. Now, in order for the law to pass, right, first of all, they could actually keep the filibuster in place and try to pull over some Democrats to vote on this, right, in the Senate. And the reason why they would do it is because the Democrats are not in power. Okay, so the Democrats know that if the filibuster is removed, the Republicans are going to be able to pass any bills that they want. So this is the one time that, and the one subject that Democrats would actually side with Republicans and say, hey, let's introduce a bill making it a law, right, that you need 60 votes for a bill to pass the Senate. Democrats would go along with it, or at least 10 Democrats would go along with this because it's in their interest. Now it becomes a law, and in the future, Democrats, in order to change that, would also need 60 votes in the Senate. So, unless they got 60 Democrats, they would probably have to get like at least 10 or so Republicans to go along with them. And what this does is it makes it like it basically solidifies it. Okay, so and you can still start the process of a constitutional amendment so that it can't even be changed by voting it out at some point in the future, right? But in the meantime, remove it or threaten to remove it as a rule, okay, and pass a law that says that you need 60 votes in the Senate for a law to pass, and that's going to promote stability, which is what I really want, okay? Because here's the thing: it sounds really great. What Republicans just get rid of the filibuster now, do whatever you want, okay? And like I said, at some point in the future, Democrats are going to get a trifecta. They're going to undo anything that the Republicans do, and then you're going to have this insane instability, okay? And also, you have the potential for a civil war, right? Because if you've got one side, one party that completely railroads the other party, I mean, that also promotes an actual shooting civil war type of situation, and that's something I would prefer to avoid, okay? So the best way to promote stability and to sort of keep everybody happy is to keep the filibuster, but keep it in such a way that the Democrats can't just remove it when they get back in power, okay? Because they're going to do that. That's 100%. They're going to do it. Even Fetterman, who has been siding with Republicans on some issues, right, has said that he wants to get rid of the filibuster, okay? In his mind, it shouldn't be there. So even the Democrats that aren't like totally crazy right now, even that one Democrat that doesn't seem like a complete nut job, even he's saying that he wants to get rid of the filibuster. Okay, so filibuster is going to go. If Democrats take power and it's still in place as a rule that just needs a 50% majority to change, it's gone, right? It's gone, and then they're going to pass everything they want. I mean, they're going to pass assault weapon bans. They're going to stop the sale of ammunition, gun confiscations, red flag laws. Whatever your worst nightmare is, Democrats are going to do it, okay? Nothing's going to stop them because they're going to remove the rule and they're just going to make everything, they're going to pass whatever laws they want, okay? So I know I'm repeating the same thing, but the only way to prevent this, okay, is to threaten the Democrats now, okay, with getting rid of the filibuster, because getting rid of it now would really hurt the Democrats. So now and only now do Democrats have an incentive to go along with voting for making 60% a requirement in the Senate to pass, to pass any law. Okay, and again, like Trump said, if Republicans don't do this, if they don't get rid of the filibuster or threaten to get rid of the filibuster and replace it with something that's more enduring, right? You gotta get rid of this rule and actually make it a law. And the House would have to vote on this as well, right? And then the president would have to sign it. And in order to undo it, it has to go through the same process. Okay. Now there is a chance that Democrats could challenge this if they got a trifecta at some point in the future. They could basically say, hey, this is a law, but the laws that the Congress passes are not superior to the Constitution. The Constitution says, hey, you only need 50% of a majority in the Senate for something to pass. They could do that, but now it's a much bigger hurdle. Now there's more of a chance that maybe some moderate, less crazy Democrats might not go along with that. Okay, so it really increases the difficulty of Democrats when they get back in power, just completely destroying the country. Okay, so drop some comments. Let me know what you guys think. This is probably the most important video I have ever done. Right, I do all sorts of videos on this channel, but this is the video that I think is, we're talking about, trying to stabilize the country here now, right? That's what we're talking about. In order to keep the country stable, right? You have to, have a situation where the two sides have to work with each other. Okay, so the filibuster basically makes that kind of a necessity. If there's something that comes up that's really important, right? They have to kind of work together. But if you get rid of the filibuster, now basically one side has no need of the other side, right? But as I explained, because I know if you're just, if you're not following this video, this might sound a little bit confusing. How am I saying get rid of the filibuster? And at the same time, I'm saying how important it is. I'm saying get rid of it as a rule, and bring it back in as a law, right? Where you need 60 votes for a bill to pass the Senate, and that's going to promote stability. Okay, so drop some comments. Talk to you all soon.